1 book, 2 book, 3 book, 4 book, 5 book. Ugh, I think I have a problem. Hi, my name is Xana Renee, and welcome to my April TBR. So this is a series I want to do here on my channel where I talk about the current book I'm reading, the books I want to read, the following month, or that month depending on when I upload the video, and then a book I want to recommend to you guys to read that I really liked and that I think you guys might like too. So, starting off, we have the book I am currently reading right now and am going to finish by the end of March. Quarantine time is good reading time. And that book is Siege and Storm by Leah Bardugo. This is the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and also the second book in the Grishkaverse universe. I am almost finished with it. As you can see, I've only got half an inch of pages left. I am on page 331, which is the start of chapter 19. The opening line is, "Early the next morning." How interesting. So this is a series I've been liking. It's been really fun. The first book in this series is obviously Shadow and Bone, and it follows Elena Starkov. I think that's how you say it. Starkov? Starkov? I don't know. I probably say Starkov in my mind when I'm reading. And you follow her through the journey of discovering magic and looming war, which are some things I really like in fantasy. Magic and conflict. The basic things in any fantasy novel. But I like how this book has done it. It's maybe not my favorite book series, but I am really enjoying it. What initially drew me to the series was, honestly, the book cover. I thought the book covers were really pretty and really fun, and I'm just really drawn to really pretty art. And on the inside it almost has like a acrylic pour painting, and it's got praise for the author. Utterly, extremely bewitching. High praise. But pretty book covers I am a sucker for. I will pick up the book and definitely read the back of it if the front of it has a pretty cover. The other thing that drew me to it is the mentions of magic. I really love fantasy books that have magic or magical creatures in them. Seeing how an author takes such a simple concept of magic, or, you know, how simple magic can be, like if we think Disney magic, where Mickey Mouse enchants the brooms and the mops to do the cleaning, or just simple magic, and how they can elevate it and make it their own is something I really, really love to see. So I am working through Siege and Storm. I should be done with it pretty soon. If you guys want, I can do a book review of book 1 and book 2 when I finish it, which leads me to the first book in my TBR pile for April, which is Ruin and Rising by the same author. It is book 3 in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, or the Grishkaverse universe. I hope I'm saying that right. Grisha? Grisha? Grishka? Grisha? Tell me? I had probably looked it up. But yeah, so the Ruin and Rising, third book. Very excited to read it. This will hopefully be the first book I read in April. As I read through book series, I really prefer to read through the entire series and not take breaks and read other books in between, because that's just how I've always been, I guess. I like finishing a series before incorporating other books into what I'm reading. I don't want to forget anything. I don't want to get characters or plot elements mixed up in my mind. So, first book of April, Ruin and Rising. I also heard and have seen that they are making a TV series based off of these books. I don't know if it's just based off of Shadow and Bone, or if it's going to be the entire trilogy. So, I started seeing some words on the back. I haven't read the back of this book yet. I do not plan to until I finish reading it, actually. For a book series, I will read the synopsis of book 1, And then after that, I don't read the synopsis of any other books in the series, even before I read them. I don't normally typically like doing that. But yes, so back to the Netflix adaptation. Is it Netflix? I don't know. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. I've seen that they have their cast and that they've shown who the people in the cast are. I've never really been a big fan of book to movie adaptations, with a few exceptions. Obviously Harry Potter is really fun. Lord of the Rings, I love the Lord of the Rings series. That's another book series I want to get to in 2020. I want to read, you know, the 3 Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, the Silmarillion, other Middle-earth tales and stories is something I'd really love to get into. But we're talking about the Great Sugar Stories. I get so off topic. Hopefully that's an endearing trait. Hopefully you guys like that and don't unsubscribe for that. Speaking of subscribing, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload, and leave a comment down below. But yes, Netflix series. Not sure if I'm gonna like it, not sure if I'm going to love it, don't know if I'm even gonna watch it. I've been disappointed by adaptations in the back. Maze Runner, I'm looking at you. I didn't even finish watching all the movies because the first one was so bad. But yes, Rain and Rising, first book of April. Alright, the next book on the pile right here, and I'm going to read the next 2 in no particular order, just how I feel, is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Again, this is a fantasy novel, and it deals with my favorite subject in fantasy, which is fae. I have always been a sucker for books with fae in them, or elves, or fairies. I just love reading about these magical, beautiful creatures, or these magical creatures of the night, or things like that. Elf is also the class, or the race I always play in D&D. You can rip it out of my cold dead hands. But yes, so I'm very excited to read The Cruel Prince. What's interesting about The Cruel Prince is that it's the opposite of what normally draws me into a book. So normally what draws me in to look at the cover of a book, what draws me in to look at the synopsis of a book is the cover. Normally I see the cover and I think, wow, that's a beautiful book. Like, I wonder what that's about. But for me, I wasn't a big fan of the cover. I thought it was so-so. I mean, it's a beautiful color, and it has both matte and glossy texture. Let's see if I can show that off. See how all of the imaging is glossy, but the rest of the paper is matte. I love it. I love feeling it. I love paper. Stationary textiles, things in general. I love them so much. But what really brought me in is I saw a picture of fan art, and then I saw the fan art was for the book, and I went and read the synopsis of the book, and I decided to get it because it sounded interesting. So this is a case of where the cover didn't draw me in, but the synopsis did, and I thought that was really interesting. But yes, so I am very much looking forward to reading The Cruel Prince. I do not have the rest of the books in the series yet. However, when I finish the first book, if I like it, I will be purchasing the rest of the books, either from Thrift Books or Barnes & Noble, both of which need to stop enabling me. Not sponsored by any of those. I am too small of a channel to be endorsed or sponsored to do anything. Yes, The Cruel Prince. Very excited to read this. And then the third book on my TBR for April, and this is the one that might switch over to May, is Dune by Frank Herbert. So Dune is a sci-fi classic. When you say sci-fi novel, most people normally think of Dune. I actually bought a copy of Dune for my brother for Christmas 2 years ago, and it is still on his desk, collecting dust. It broke my heart, but he said he already read it, so he didn't want to read it again. But this copy is not that copy. This was gifted to me by my boyfriend's sister for Christmas because I said I wanted to read it, and so she got it for me. But yes, so Dune is a sci-fi, it is a classic, and I've seen the movie. I watched most of it with my father because he wanted to watch it with me. And I thought it was really interesting. The movie we watched was the one with Patrick Stewart. He makes anything good. And I'm just very excited to read this. I haven't really read much sci-fi. It's never really been something that's been on my radar for reading. I don't even really know if I've walked down the sci-fi aisle, the sci-fi lane, the sci-fi rows. I haven't gallivanted through them because my brain always goes to fantasy, 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 which I might get shot for saying this. I think sci-fi and fantasy can be very similar, but they're also very different. But yes, so Dune is the final book I am planning on reading for April. We'll see how I do with this TBR. We'll see what I accomplish, what I like, what I dislike, and I will definitely be making videos checking in on how I'm doing, what I'm thinking of the books, where I am in the books, and then I might even do individual detailed reviews on each book and what I liked and what I didn't like about it. Yeah, I'm very excited. So we've got, again, I'll just show them super quick, Ruin and Rising. Very beautiful cover. The Cruel Prince. Very beautiful cover. And Dune. Cool cover? Alright, so that is it for my April TBR. So I've said what I'm reading, what I want to be reading, and then I'm going to leave you with a recommendation of a book I liked. This is a book I read a while ago. This is Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. I hope I said her first name right. It is a bit of a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I love fairy tales. That's the other thing. I love fantasy with magical creatures like fae, and I love retellings. And so this fit the bill. This had just about all of those things in it. I don't have the dust cover because, or the dust jacket, because I got this off of Thrift Book. Again, Thrift Book definitely enables me. But it was a good book. I don't remember how many stars I gave this, but it was good. I liked it. I think you might like it. It's not a very obvious Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I definitely thought it was. And I think it's really fun. It's a quick, light read. It's not the longest of books. It is only, let me see how many pages it is. Doop, 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 wasting time on camera. Here's the bookmark I used for it. Scooby-Doo Fruit Snack Pack. Right at the acknowledgements. What? Do you guys read the acknowledgements for books? I sometimes will. If I liked the book, I'll read the acknowledgements. If I thought the book was crap, I won't read it. This book is 342 pages, and it is a standard size book, so that's probably going to be about 250 words per page, so you can do the math on how many words this book is. But yeah, I hope that if you decide to give it a try, decide to pick it up, that you like it. If you don't like it, don't at me. But yeah, so that is it for my April TBR video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell and leave a comment down below. And follow me on my social medias. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at XannasBooks. I will also have those linked down below in the description bar, so please give that a read. And I hope that you have a very good day. Alright, bye-bye.